Hi guys, I'm here with John Majorowski, and he has a podcast slash YouTube channel called UFO on the Level, and we're talking today about this book that he just wrote called Contact and Control. Do you think that looks reversed on the camera? Anyway,
No, it looks good.
it's amazing. You guys need to read this. It gives a lot of his personal experiences, but it also is, I would say, if you're new to UFOs, or even if you're not new to UFOs, like I'm not new to UFOs, but it gives you like such a good like summary of like all the players and what's going on and what we're like where we're at right now. So I think that is super important for even somebody who's not into the subject, but you're starting to go like, wait, what is this about? This is an amazing book. So congratulations for writing it.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. That's I'm honored. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was really hard. I had to do it. I had to get it out there, and I was fighting. Like I told you, like it took like 6 years, almost 6 years, to do the whole thing, and it was just nonstop, over and over and over, to kind of like reiterate on things, and I kept going down rabbit holes, and obviously I just try to outline it like you said, basically from anybody who's never had an experience to people who have had experiences their whole life to people that are just brand new into the thing. And one of the things that kept coming back is that they're not hiding like the craft, right? They're just hiding what the contact does to you as a human, right? That was the reoccurring thing that I kept finding.
Mm.
They were hiding it, right? They were hiding it, denying it throughout the years. But the biggest thing that they really want to keep a lid on is what contact does to us as humans, like what it does to our DNA, what it does to us, as people. And that's the part that was been completely covered up forever.
Well, and let's just get into that now because like
Yeah.
we're both experiencers. Like
Right.
I've had my fair share of experiences my whole life
Mm-hmm.
pretty much. And
Yeah.
then and sounds like from your book you have as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Whether
sure.
that's and then when we say the phenomenon, that doesn't just mean like, oh, I saw like a cow get sucked up and cow mutilated in like a sauce or just like that. I mean, it also we're including shadow people and ghosts and sleep paralysis and paranormal experiences. Basically, the phenomenon is like very encompassing of a lot of different elements. So, what do you think is the overarching thing that happens to people once they've been kind of an experiencer?
It's interesting. It kind of runs the gamut. And it does touch with near death experiences as well. I mean, that plays into the whole thing. Like, there's people that have never had an experience in their life, and then they've had a near death experience where they like died,
Mm,
and they've had that whole near death experience thing. And then on top of that, then they go outside and see UFOs, or they see
right.
ghosts, or they have psychic abilities where they can, precognitive things, or they can, speak to people, incorporeal entities. And it's just bizarre how it all ties back to consciousness. It's just like this thing that the commonality of all of that is that consciousness is like the core. And it's amazing when you look at it from that angle, where, like you said, we've had experiences our whole lives. We've been taught and conditioned on purpose through the Robinson panel, basically from the U.S. government in like 52, 53, to just dismiss everything that we've had. Like, hey, you're crazy,
The weather
tinfoil
balloon.
hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, weather balloon. Yeah, exactly. It's all this stuff is just explainable. There's nothing magical about the world, and you're just dumb. So we grew up like that. But when we're kids, I think we're most innocent and we're most open to everything, right? So the children, you don't have those preconceived things, pushed down on you from all those sources. So I went back to a lot of my experiences as a child that, of course, my parents are saying, you're imagining it, it's just imagination. There's, none of these things are real. But then looking back on it, it's like, wow. And you see how all these things happen. And it's just a reoccurring theme, like I said, through race, religion, all of the things you can possibly imagine, ethnicity, like anywhere you're on the globe, everybody's had these experiences. And when you talk to those people, they'll admit it. Yeah, that happened. Like, yeah, this happened, and we didn't talk about it. And there's other cultures where they're just like, yeah, no big deal. It happens all the time. That's whatever. And we're just part of our lives and part of our society. But in the Western world, we're just like, nah, that's not real. So I wanted to shine a
Well,
light on all
and
of that.
we discount it's kind of like that, like Dumbledore said to Harry Potter. Yeah, that's funny. He said, like, he's like, is this just all in my head? And he's like, of course it's in your head, Harry, but that doesn't make it any less real. But I
Right.
mean, in a way, like it is, like, I mean, you could go into what are psychic abilities really tapping into, what are dreams even, like, why do we dream, like, what's going on, like,
Right.
there's a lot more to the reality than we're led to try to believe is there. And so, yeah, okay, so like you said, you've seen shadow figures even when you were little.
Yeah, that was the first experience I had. I was probably, I don't know, 4 or 5, something like that. And they were always just, you know, classic black shadow figures, featureless outline of a human, head, arms, legs.
Hmm.
And for me, they were fleeting, like corner of the doorway, and then also lurking, like just hanging out in the corners.
I've had a lot of shadow beings my whole life, and I mean, even they would be at the foot of my bed a lot, and I would be
Oh
like,
wow.
"Go away, just go away." Like,
Would they would they go away?
yeah, if you tell them to go away, they'll go away.
Yeah,
But
it's amazing.
they never touched me or did anything. They just were there, and like I liked in your book how you said, one of your theories was that maybe they were you from the future, like viewing you in the past.
Yeah, that came through a therapy session I had that was called EMDR. It's like it's
Rapid
I,
eye movement thing.
yeah, it was a rapid eye movement. I can't remember the acronym right now, but anyway, I think the lady that invented it was basically watching a squirrel jump back and forth on a branch, and she was processing, like mentally processing. I think she was a psychologist, and she was mentally processing something, and she noticed that a rapid eye movement, but you can do it for audio as well. So you can have, I did it that way, so that's tones in one ear and the other ear, and then back and forth and
Oh,
back and
okay,
forth,
yeah.
and you concentrate on them, and you're focusing on what's bothering you or whatever, and through that, and it wasn't even about that. I wasn't even going to therapy about that. I was going through a divorce, so it wasn't even about like my childhood trauma or anything. I didn't know I had any, right? But that came back as a reoccurring thing through that, and it started as the shadow beings. I'm scared of it. I'm a little kid. I don't know what this thing is. It won't go away. I'm scared of it. And then it kind of morphed into me, like now, looking at myself as a kid, and that connection was wild. Like I don't know. I've never done enough research to see if anybody else has done that. But for me, that was a breakthrough and kind of a scary moment to realize there was something my entire youth I was scared of, and it ended up being me. Think,
Yeah.
think about that for a minute. Like, oh, you're just scared of these things that end up being you. Like, wild, right? I don't know what
I
that
mean, I
means.
think there's a lot to that. Like a lot of the orbs, like when people are seeing like, pictures and they see orbs in the pictures, like those kind of orbs.
Yeah.
I like if you remote view and stuff, it feels to me like you would have some sort of quality to where you are in space and time. So it might pop up as that. And then also like one of the stories that I heard on some podcast many years ago, and I don't, sorry for not giving people credit for this because like I have no idea
Yeah.
what podcast I heard this on or like who said it, but it was basically this guy said he was he went back to his grandmother's house,
Hmm.
and his aunt who was still alive, like she was in her 60s, he kept on seeing a ghost of her and her ex-husband when they were like 30 fighting in this room. And it was like her ex-husband, and he was really abusive and they had like a really bad relationship. But he was like, the weird thing is like either of them were dead, but yet I would
Wow.
see this ghost of them. And then a lot of people have postulated that, okay, you have something like the King Henry VIII comes out of these particular doors in like
Right.
Kensington Palace or something, and lots of people have seen that over and over again. It's almost as if how in your book you talk about like the block of time, like how all time is now, are
Right.
are basically all time is simultaneously happening. But then I almost wonder if it's almost like there's certain events or certain emotional charges that leave such like they scratch the record, like they leave
Oh.
such a imprint on a place in time that
Hmm.
people will like get that loop and they'll see that thing because they've done something with like they've imprinted on that physical place like really hard.
That's kind of cool. I never thought about the scratch on a record is a really good analogy. Like somehow it made a dent so that it keeps reoccurring, right?
Yeah,
Right.
in the same place, even though it's out of its time. So, because
Yeah.
like a lot of ghost stories are, oh, the lady only comes down the stairs at 7 p.m. or whatever.
Yeah, you're right. On the solstice.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah. I'm
yeah,
I'm not discounting that at all. Like I, I think one of the biggest crimes on through all of this is that the people that are the ghost hunters and the people that are Bigfoot hunters and the people that are, giant hunters or whatever, and the ufologists, they don't talk.
no,
And
they don't,
nobody,
and they
nobody,
discount each other's things. Like,
exactly.
okay, well,
And
you
then,
like Bigfoot, but I like UFOs. Like, I
yeah,
don't.
oh yeah, and they're into ghosts, so it's weird, right? But then if you look at any of the data and the correlation for like any of those type of things, like there's a ghost sighting, well, oh wow, there's Bigfoot sightings in the area too. Oh wait, this place is haunted. Like, really? Like how is that possible, right?
Well, and
Yeah,
I kind of ran into that too with like had a bunch of like fairy experiences. And
yeah,
then I was thinking like, what the hell are fairies really, And then you read like Jacques Vallée's work and he has a whole thing of, I mean, like they usually, I mean, they may have been calling ETs fairies back in like, like 500 years ago, like before they had
right.
like kind of like a
Terminology. Yeah,
yeah, or a word for, or who knows, I don't know. So it's like we are dealing with dimensions, we're dealing with time, we're dealing a lot with time more than I think. That's something the more I've gotten into, and your chapter, I really liked your chapter about like time's not linear.
yeah. That was really hard. I've had a lot of people tell me that was a rough chapter for them to read because it's a very difficult concept to say, hey, well, time's not linear, and you tell that to somebody, and you're like, what do you mean? It's like it's right now, and then there's later, and then that was before. But if you look at it in the way I lay out in the book, I tried to make it as easy to understand as possible with a lot of analogies, and but still keep the core of understanding of it. But basically, if it breaks down to it, and you look at it from a quantum scale, time doesn't exist. It's not linear.
Hmm.
It's happening all at the same time everywhere. Retrocausality is another thing that still blows my mind. That things happening now can affect the past. So,
Yeah, that's super super interesting, and you do bring it into like a scientific like kind of way of being like, yeah, like there's people who are actually researching it. This isn't just hearsay.
yeah,
And
some of these things are provable,
yeah.
like through science.
Well,
Hmm.
I had I don't think I've talked to you since this happened to me, but in July 31st of 2023,
Okay.
no, of July 31st of 2024, I
Hmm.
went to sleep just
Hmm.
normal, and I woke up and I was in, instead of it being August 1st of 2024, it was August 1st of 2023. And I had a groundhog year. I had to live a whole entire year over
What?
again. So I have been really researching a lot about time since then because yeah, it was an entire year that I had to completely relive over, and I lived it completely differently. I ended
What?
up getting married that year. I ended up like yeah, just I made completely different decisions in the first go around.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! So this legit happened?
This legit happened, yeah. And it was the
Wait a minute.
first couple of weeks was horrible
Oh,
because
wait, I'm sorry, but so you went to bed.
I went to bed and then I woke up a year before the next day. So I went to bed the 31st of July of 2024, and I was expecting to be waking up on August 1st of 2024, but it was August 1st of 2023. And
Holy shit! And you lived that entire year all over again?
it's like I think I might not be in my same timeline. I'm like I don't know what happened, but yeah, I lived the whole year over again, and I was scared when 20 when it happened again, when like July 31st of 2024 happened the second go around, and I was like, oh, am I gonna wake up again? But it like then I lived it correctly. It went forward, but so I only had to live the year once, but I lived the whole year over again.
So you lived it twice, though.
Yeah, so I guess I'm a year older than I should be, but I look a little younger, guys. But yeah.
Wow, how did?
Okay, so like that first it was like, like I just kind of was thinking, I would see the date on stuff and I just really would just dismiss it. I was just more paying attention to the date.
Yeah.
And then it was like, and then I noticed just things like, um, me and my nephew's born like the 11th of August, so I always take him to movies, right, on
Hmm.
his birthday. And like I had taken him earlier, or I remember basically there was a Ninja Turtle movie
Hmm.
that was about girl Ninja Turtles, and they were like going to save their dads who were the actual old Ninja Turtles. And
Oh,
this
wow.
movie doesn't exist. It never, I saw it in the movie theaters and everything, and I could tell you the plot. It was a horrible movie, but
And it doesn't
it
exist?
doesn't exist. This movie never has never even been made. It's crazy. And then like, I kept on telling people, oh wait, Biden doesn't run. He's not. I'm not really political. And,
Yeah.
like, and then I also remembered Trump actually got shot and killed. Like it wasn't. It
Wow. So you
wasn't
remember a whole different
a
timeline?
whole different timeline. Yeah. So it was a really bizarre thing. And the further along I got into the year, the more the previous year faded. But
Whoa.
first month it was so, I was just like, and I didn't know what to do and I didn't know who to ask or who to go to or what I could do about it because like I mean I just started researching a bunch of stuff about like time travel and this and that, and people were like have experienced this kind of like in days or hours or this kind of thing, but nobody's experienced it in a year like that I've known. So I still don't have any frame of reference or anybody to talk to about or what to do about it. I've moved on. It was
What's
years
did you
ago.
have like any precognition of what was like events that were going to happen then though?
Oh, I mean, like I 100% already. I kept on telling everybody, all my friends who were, yes, like my husband, all my friends who were my friends at the time, that like I kept on being like, yeah, well, my first 2023 or this that what happened in the first one was this. What happened in the second one was, you know, um,
So you had like you did have like you were nailing things
well,
before they
things went
happened.
different because it's like
Oh, right.
because like I like for example, uh my husband's a lot younger than me, so I just was like not going to give him a chance. But then but then the second go around I was like, ah, what the hell do I know? It's not like older guys been working out for me anyway, so like yeah, sure, let's try. So like I just was just way more well, let's try it different this time
Yeah.
with everything. And I like shit, I don't know. I went to different places than I would have got. I don't know. It was weird. I lived it completely differently, and like so it changed kind of like the other thing. But even like like I said, public events were different. Like Trump did actually get shot in the head and killed. And that had happened right before I had my time travel thing. It was
Okay.
sometime in July of 2024 and then like a couple weeks later like everybody was still dealing with that, and then I woke up and he was alive, and it was the year before.
What the That's so
Yeah.
wild.
And then so like and I forgot about that, and then when he got shot I was like, when I first heard it I was like, oh yeah, he dies. Oh shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, he dies. And then and
So you're
then
like remembering it as time like you're remembering the
yeah,
other
I'm
timeline.
remembering it. I mean, I could still tell people I was like, something's not right here. Like, no, Biden, it's a girl. Biden's not actually the running mate, you guys. And he did actually run a lot longer the second go around than he did the first go around. Super weird stuff. Yeah.
Wild. That's so wild. So wait, you got married twice?
No, the first go around I didn't get married because
Okay.
we just remained friends.
Okay.
And the second time I experienced the year, I was I decided, all right, fine, let's date. Come on, let's see how this goes. And then we
But
got
you
married that year.
and then you got married.
Yeah.
You're still married.
And we're still married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wild. Congratulations, by
Oh,
the
thanks. Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that was 3 years ago
Wow.
because it's almost July now. That was,
Oh my God. I hope on the 31st, you know.
I know the 31st always kind of does make me a little bit like, but I don't
So
know why it
did you
happened
do
that
any
day.
podcast in there? Did you do any like recordings and podcasts during that time where you can look back and be like, reference anything that you could pull
Mm,
out of?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I talked about it to a bunch of my podcast guests. I'm like, well, I'm experiencing this year again, and like I think
Wow.
people just think I'm crazy. Like they don't really
No.
to think about that. They're like, okay, yeah.
That's
So
so. I
the
mean, it's not
groundhog
unheard
year.
of. That's amazing, though. It was a whole year. It had to be so stressful.
Yeah, I mean, and then I
Excuse
was
me.
thinking about like, did I really die? And then I just had woke up in another timeline, or like what
Wow.
happened that like that is.
That you skipped that whole your consciousness shifted a different timeline, or maybe the timeline shifted and you stayed the same.
Yeah, yeah, maybe something happened with that. Like we're, and I don't know if I did it. And then I have like played around with the concept of, you know, basically we're like on a train, like going in one place on a train, like going through time like this. But you can actually, instead of doing it like a train, you can go up and down on it like an elevator at a certain point. So like if you anchor yourself to, I was doing this a lot at the time, like with this tree in my backyard where I would start trying to like stay in one point and then start to go like to the past and the future in meditative kind of states. And
Mm-hmm.
basically, and you do that by kind of igniting an imaginative
Mm-hmm.
Merkaba inside your body.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to spin part of it one way, the other one the other way, and you can kind of see like what this place was in the past and what it will be in the future. And you get to anchor yourself to something physical
Like a
in a
like a
location,
tree.
like a tree or a rock or something like that, and then you can go back and forth in a place. But so anyway,
Was
I was playing around with that concept during that year because I was researching a lot of stuff about time, but only the second go around, not the first go around. So anyway,
wow.
I don't know. That's all just to say that like it very well could be with your shadow people, your past self looking into your or your future self looking into your past self.
Totally. Or just stepping out of time, right? Like you did. It
Yeah.
seems like you stepped out of time.
Or stepped into a different timeline. Yeah.
Yeah. At least you're still here.
Here. Yeah.
It could have
Not
gone
that
way
much
worse.
changed, but a little bit changed where I was like, geez, this is really weird.
You're younger.
You're younger. That's true. Okay, so tell me about like so your dad, so do you think there's a genetic component
I
to,
do.
yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, tell me about what do you think about that situation?
Um. Well, like I said in the book, like you can totally dismiss an experiencer's testimony, right? Like you can say, okay, cool, you don't have to drink that night or whatever, but you can't dismiss like a genetic marker or DNA, right? But you start asking experiencers about populations, and there's like complete consistent anomalies in their biology. Um, and like you leave the realm of a suggested experience there and you enter the realm of science. Like literally you can look at a genetic marker, you can look at a genome or a chromosome that, and that the implications are enormous. So like for the phenomenon, and it doesn't have to be genetic lineage wise. I mean, it can happen to you right now, and then you can pass it along to your children, and
Right.
that. So it doesn't have to be only because your great 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 grandfather or grandmother had an experience that you do. No, I mean it carries. And the biggest thing that I got shut down about was the DNA aspect of the whole thing. It's kind of talked about a lot in the book, but it was kind of public on Twitter too when I posted a clip of James Ian Doley from Engaging the Phenomenon interviewing Andrew Resowitz, who's like the psychic firefighter, talking about DNA. And the clip I posted was, this is him verbatim, was saying, Gary Nolan and Kit Green are looking for genetic components and experiencers, and they're taking people's DNAs that are experiencers and they're not telling anybody what they're doing with it. And they're looking for a way to turn on and off the phenomenon in people. Right? I posted that clip. Tom DeLonge retweeted it, and it got like like 5 million hits or something. And Gary Nolan's in my DMs going, John, take it down. And I'm like, what do you mean, dude? He's like, take that down. It's not true. And I'm like, I didn't say it, first of all. I just reposted it. Go talk to Razowitz and Ian Doley. They're the guys who said it. I put it up there. And I'm taking my daughter to school. And by the time I got back, he was like, fine, you're blocked. Completely shadow banned after that. Like, no YouTube. You couldn't Google me. You couldn't find me on YouTube, Twitter, like anything, right? I just disappeared. It was
Wow.
just completely shut down. And that's when I got pissed. I'm like, cool. I'm over the mark,
And
right?
I did notice you being gone for a while, like online, because I was like, because I used to
I,
see your stuff come up all the time, and then I didn't see you for a while, and I just thought like, oh well, maybe life happened or something. But
no, no. They just completely shadow banned me, like bad, because I knew what they were talking about. I talk about it in the book that DNA, all that shit's happened. It's happened for a while now. Dean Radin, Dr. Dean Radin, amazing researcher, billion books, been into this thing for 50 years. Look him up. He was just on Joe Rogan.
yeah, I've listened
And
to the podcast with him. I really like him.
yeah, he's really great. But he came out and was like, "Look, I'm kind of scared. If something happens to me or the research, this is what we're doing. We can intranasally take this thing, spray it in your nose, and you can be psychic for a little bit of time or forever." And he's like, "If something happens to me or the research, this is where it's at."
Well,
And
and then he talked about the blood-brain barrier thing, right? And then that made
yeah,
me like when I read that, I'm like, damn, like what if they're doing that with like chemtrails or
exactly.
who
Like
knows,
right
like right? You know, it's like they could be doing that with vaccines or those things they would that make us test in our nose
for
with
COVID, right?
for COVID test, yeah, and
Yeah.
the nasal. Who knows, like what they're doing or what they're doing it for? But
If
um,
you can turn it on, you can turn it off. So
if
think
you
about
can
it
turn
that
around,
way.
yeah, and you're like, well, if you want to make the population more docile, or if you want to wake them up, it's like, well, who wants to do what? And there could be other factions playing, you
Oh,
know.
right. Just start chemtrailing an entire country to make them not be psychic anymore.
Yeah, that's kind of scary too, you know. And then I also think about I did that 23andMe
Of
like
course.
way
Oh,
back when.
the
Yeah.
backdoor thing, right? They had the backdoor saw that. Like Lynn Buchanan came out, one of the top remote viewers in the world, was on a podcast, was on a Scanner Darkly podcast, and came out and said, "Hey, the CIA has backdoors in 23andMe and Ancestry DNA, and they look for these genetic markers for people that are experiencers."
Yeah.
It's
And
like, so
it's
they
funny
know.
because I would get so many emails about you know, like wanting to do more tests on me and this and you
Mm.
know, and I mean, like I never would respond to them, but you
Hmm.
know, it's really interesting that and you know how I got caught in that one? It was really interesting. I went to a TED Talk in person, like a real life TED Talk, and
Yeah.
the girl who was like married to one of the Google guys or whatever, who's the one
Oh
who
yeah.
started 23andMe, and
Yeah.
this was like in 2010.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm like, I don't know, I'm like 28 or something then, and I'm going like, oh wow, they like started Google. That's cool. Oh, they're just giving us a free spit sample. Okay, sure. Like I mean, I like she gave everyone in the audience a thing, and it was all about how like, oh, you know, if I only could have found like this genetic marker in my husband sooner, we could have done something. I don't know, whatever. Some dumb sap story that made me be like, okay, I'll spit in your tube for free. Sure. So I gave away my DNA like back in 2010 on
Yeah.
Meet for free.
Yeah. Well,
So,
then I started wigging out about it too. And I was like, "You're not getting my DNA." Everybody's like, "I'm not going to do that." And then I found out that you can. They have a way to pick up a human's DNA within 25 feet just from the air, the aerosol, like just
oh
from you
yeah.
being there. It's 25 feet, like just suck in your DNA. And I'm
Well,
like, okay, cool.
if that's the case, then it's like whatever.
Yeah, who? Yeah, that's what
They
I said. Who?
know.
Everybody's all weird about it. I'm like, cool. They can just literally,
Well,
you
and then
just
they
walk
were
by
saying,
a stadium.
"Oh, 23andMe got sold. You should take your deal." I'm like, "What? Like they're gonna actually erase it because you asked them to erase it? They're not,
I do information security for a living. That ain't happening.
right?"
That's just not going anywhere. Yeah, no, I mean that's the crazy part. I mean the whole DNA thing is huge, right? And you look into that, and it's like, well, why are they doing that? It's massive. They won't talk about it. You won't see that. You have all of these stupid new releases that are coming out from the Pentagon, right? You got a billion hits on whatever, war.gov for the first time ever, and they're never going to talk about DNA. They're never going to talk about experiencers. They're never going to talk about humans, the biology, none of that. They're never going to get to that point because that's what they want to do. They'll distract you with all the shit in the sky and the lights and the orbs and cool. That's all. Maybe we got some crash stuff, but they're never going to talk about biology or DNA.
Yeah,
Right?
I think that's very, very true. I mean, and then you know when you have things like uh Wuhan labs or where they're like, what is that? What's that word they do where they like make the viruses?
Oh, gain of function.
Gain of function stuff going on,
Yeah.
and then you're like, well, there's probably so much war like weaponization that they're doing too with all this stuff that, yeah, I don't know. Like,
Well, that's what Andrew and I don't know if we talked about it on the record or off the record, but I'll talk about it. I don't care. We talked about the reason for me getting shut down and blocked and all that was because if you think about it in terms of the war machine, right? And if you had an ability to give the most elite soldiers in the world a nasal spray, and then all of a sudden they're psychic, their perception is opened up to levels that we can't even imagine, right?
yeah,
So they no longer need comms.
yeah, they
They
get
can
telepathically.
talk palate. But they know that there's going to be a guy around the corner. They know that where the bomb is. They know where this is because they intuitively know. They can remote view real time and run around and just do whatever they need to do, barehanded or whatever. Like they probably don't even need weapons at that point, right? They can just. That's like a multi-trillion-dollar thing to sell the government, right? That's cool. We're going to make your guys super soldiers instantly. Boom, right now. And it could be for just a day or two or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
And they can turn it off.
And they can turn it off because we don't want those guys running amok. But that's the rationale for me that would be like, oh wow, that's why they wanted to shut this thing down, because if you had that, amazing. And obviously we don't want any of the bad countries, foreign adversaries, right, to have that, because that'd be terrible for us too. But geez, man, and I think that's probably the rationale why they got completely booted,
There's
because it is
gotta come a
amazing.
time where, like, I don't know. I mean, like this is so hippy dippy of me to think, but like there's gotta become a time where, like, if a soldier could get that kind of power, they'd be like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I killing somebody for
Yeah,
somebody else's sake? Like, what are we doing here? What is
right.
like this is like gonna create karma on my soul level thing that I don't need to deal with for a long time. Like, what are we doing here? This is like, I don't know what this is. I'm out. Like,
I agree. They'd have to cut out the whole empathy factor, right? They would have
yeah, it
to.
had to be engineered in other layers that are just like crazy. And
Hmm.
that actually brings me to your, which I have to say, I loved this chapter, and I was just so the white lady thing.
Oh
Because
wow.
okay, so a spoiler alert, okay. All right, sorry guys, but yeah. So John had an experience with White Lady, which I'll let you tell in a minute.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, okay, tell it, and then I'll tell you the thing that I was.
No, no, no. You go. You go. Just
Okay,
go. Go. Go.
so
Go.
like I've been saying for a long time, because I told you like a long time ago about how I had those like four orbs that came
Mm,
in, blue orbs that came into my
yeah.
room, and then they started showing me images of like basically a pole flip and like water everywhere and like all this crazy shit. But
Yeah.
it's like, and then I like, for it took me a while, but I finally realized, I'm like, I don't have to believe them. Just because they showed me that doesn't mean I have to, like, one, choose that timeline,
Mhm.
two, like believe in that, or three, like they don't have any more authority than me just because there's some fucking blue balls that came and talked to me. Like, and so
Right.
it's like, it like the sovereignty bit is something that I think is super huge, because it doesn't matter if an angel or a demon is in your room. The thing you guys have in common is that you're existing at the same time in this, and you're on this plane right here. So it's kind of like, I think the giving away our power and giving away our authority to, like, the almost like the bells and the whistles of something, like whether it's through fear or through like, oh, is
Right.
really something important that needs to be talked about. And you did it, and you talked about it in this book. So now you tell the story.
Well, I mean, for me, yeah, totally. It was scary as, I mean, and every time I talk about this, you can probably go back and look at every podcast to talk about it. Because when I do talk about it, it puts me back there, because it was such a different experience that I've never experienced. I've experienced crazy stuff my whole life, right? We talked about it. And I never experienced anything like that. Um, and I always say this: I don't know the date, I don't know the time, I don't know the exact place. I know it was in my house, my backyard. I could have been cutting the grass. I could have been outside looking at the. I don't know, right? I didn't know the moon phase, like any of these things, right? But I was there physically, and this lady, this white, like the white lady, explaining it, just internally glowing white, came at me from the northeast, like floated at me. Um, Dress, robe, whatever. Two guys behind her in dark navy, almost black cloaked all the way down to about right here. Behind her, like sentinels. This is the impression I got: sentinels or guardians or something behind her. And she just came to me and handed me a sword, like palms up. Like she was trying to hand me a sword. And what like when somebody hands you something, you automatically go, "Oh, okay," yeah, all right. But so I kind of reached out to her, and when I did, and I've described it the best way I could, is just like a cutscene in a movie where you go from 1,000 years or 2,000 years or 3,000 years in like 30 seconds, just all these instances. And it was just me with this sword in the most devastating environments ever. And a lot of it was desert or arid or just death and destruction everywhere, fire and just blood and screaming and death everywhere. And me with this sword and being partially responsible or responsible in some way, like, and the feeling of dread and just tiredness and just like disappointment or whatever, came over me. And also the sense of like duty, like you have to do this, that's what it was like. You got it. This is what you do. This, you have to do this. And like I'm reaching for the hilt, and I was like, no, that's it. No. I was like, no. And then the two sentinels came up, and they were like, and I got the impression, I felt they were male, and they were kind of like, oh man, like, dude, like we don't want to do this either. Like don't make us do this. We have to, we're gonna have to make you do this, and we don't want to either. And it's gonna be bad for you.
And she said, you have to fight for me again or something,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, you have to fight for me again. Like you have to do this for me again. Like this is your job that you have to fight for me again. And I was like, no, absolutely not. I'm done. And like the only thing I kept holding on to was my family, my wife, my kids, just like not, that was my anchor, like I'm not leaving this. This is what I had the impression that I didn't have that before. Like I didn't find love and I didn't have children. And I didn't, have something to stay for,
Yeah.
and so now I was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. And then I was just finally like screamed like, no, and then finally they just kind of.
Yeah. And then you said there was no consequences for saying no.
Not yet. And it's still, I don't want to say haunts me, but it's still always there. I talk about it a lot in the book. I'm like, was it a test that I passed? Was it a test that I failed? Was it, like what?
But I love that. Like it was, there was some sentence that you said about how it was kind of like the social, like, basically fighting for somebody, what chapter is the white lady anyway?
Yeah, 14, maybe.
Okay, here we go. The white
You
lady.
found it?
And then, yeah, I found it. Yeah, for the greater good, right? Always for the greater good, the cosmic excuse for violence wrapped in righteousness. Like bingo. Like that, and that is kind of like the thing is it's like eventually we have to say no to whatever bloodshed or whatever fighting there is.
Yeah, that's kind of, and it's like I still, like, even when we're talking about it, I still have this weird feeling in my stomach and like the pit of, like the core of me, like I still feel like there's some kind of
Unresolved or something, or
yeah, like a control or something that that maybe I haven't processed it all the way, or maybe it's not over, kind of thing. Like maybe it's not over, but I don't know. The crazy part is that through all these years in the podcast and the talking to people and meeting people, and just I've found other people, or we found each other that have had this experience with this lady. The lady in white, the white lady, whatever you want to call her. I mean, like I go through the whole thing in the book. It could have been Marian apparitions, right? Fatima,
the white
blah, blah,
buffalo
blah.
lady, the like Chris Bledsoe deals with the white
The
lady
lady,
or something.
right? Like all of these things, and it's like, why? And then for some reason, we find each other and connect, like the people. And I mean, I've had people that I've been friends with, recently through all this stuff for years, and then they're like, yeah, well, I've had an experience like that myself. It's like, what? And then we share experiences, and it's so similar. Not with the sword, and there's things that are different or
Yeah.
whatever in the experience, but it's like the same experience. It's like, well, how is that possible?
Yeah.
That
Well, I mean, that's the thing is like I do think I believe there's parts of our soul because I believe we have a soul. And I
hmm
think that I think that there's perpetrator victim like savior complexes running throughout archetypes that we've experienced
mm,
millennials or however long to our maybe we're currently experiencing an all time, I don't know.
hmm
But I mean, I think that it's all this stuff is really fractaled us, and we really have to try to um really it is kind of a story of coming to our own sovereignty. And then that brings me to what I love this book talking about like you have more power than you know.
yeah, I love that
Yeah.
part.
And so yeah, like and I love how you talk about how um like okay, I'm reading my notes now, but you talk about like there's meditation, you got to get a daily practice, got to stay grounded because and the staying grounded thing is really interesting too because I've had like channeler friends or friends
hmm
who are in ancient history stuff or who just like go wackadoo, dude. Like they go off the path to a point where they can't live any like they just burn all their bridges,
hmm
or they
Yeah.
just completely burn out. So it's like it is a balance act. This whole thing is a crazy balance act because in the end of the day, we are still incarnated as humans living with each other. So we got to like, be real in some sense too. Like we got to take the trash out.
Yeah, but then I talked about it a little bit as well in the book. But there was people that were way more connected to the phenomenon or whatever in ancient times in the tribal sense. Exactly, there would be the medicine men and women,
Mhm.
right? That they would be the people that would know when the other invading army was coming over the hill in 3 days, and they would know how to grab this plant and chew it up and spit
Right.
on it and heal you and all these things, but they couldn't like feed themselves. Or they could, like they
Right.
couldn't like bathe themselves, or and
Do
they would
basic
sit there
functions.
and
Yeah.
yeah, like basic human things, like they were so valuable to the other people of the tribe that they were to protect them.
Right. And help
They
them.
would feed them. Yeah, they would
Yeah.
help them. They would feed them. They would, like do things for them, like make sure they, ate every day or whatever, and we kind of put those people in insane asylums now.
Yeah. We call them schizophrenic and but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and not to say that there aren't people that have mental issues. There are for sure, but again, it goes back to the whole stigmatizing of this and going, hey, yeah, you're crazy, get away. But yeah, you do have to stay grounded, and you have to be around people, and you have to laugh. You have to have fun, and realize that we're all experiencing this thing in different forms, and that nobody's more important than anybody else, and you are way more powerful than totally. That's the key. We've been told for millennia that we have to look for a higher power. We have to go to a priest or a rabbi or somebody to talk to God, or
Yeah.
why, right? Like, why can't you go outside and meditate or pray or do any of those things,
Or
and why
see
can't you do it with
the
other people?
element of consciousness of God within yourself and then connect with that.
Yeah, like any of those things. And then it's amazing when you believe in yourself and you do these little tiny things every day, and you see, like, you lean into it a little bit, and like the simplest things, like when you notice a synchronicity, and you appreciate it, and you feel gratitude when it happens, like, oh, I think somebody's going to call me right now, and then the phone rings, and you're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
hey. And then you're like, oh, and then you feel that in your heart, and you feel like, oh my god, that's awesome. And then like, the light's yellow, but maybe I should stop. Right? Usually you just blow right through it, be like, maybe I should stop. And you stop. You never stop at a yellow light, but then a bus blows through your intersection and hits something, and it explodes. And like, oh my God, if I
Like that
would
could
have
have been
been,
me, right?
that could have been, right? So like all of these things. And when you start to lean into it, it's amazing how you feel and
Yeah.
how you can. And then for me, I try to do everything with the guys of like, how can I help somebody else today? How can I help myself be better to help other people in any way I can and be of service? And that makes me keep going every day.
And then
Honestly,
you do meditate or not?
I can't. I do in weird ways. I do, like, in odd ways.
I want to start one day, but yeah, no, I do
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes, but I have a hard time with like the daily like metronome, like must do 20 minutes
No.
of this.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do
Well, John Warner, right, my buddy who wrote the foreword of the book, and he's like, "Yeah, I meditate when I'm driving my old cars." Like he and I love old classic cars, right? We have classic cars and we drive them. And he's like, "Yeah, I don't turn the radio on. I'm just driving. I'm paying attention to nothing. The motor, I can hear it. The wind.
that.
I'm driving down the road. That's my meditation." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess you're right. I do things like that I don't call meditation.
Yeah.
Maybe you're in the garden, pulling weeds or doing something, connecting with nature. Or maybe you're going for a walk in the woods, and it's
Mine's
just
like at night when I take my makeup off and I put like my wrinkle cream on and everything, I'm just like in some sort of, it takes me forever because I'm like, I just put on, and
you're
I
just it's like a ritual.
beat myself up and then I'm in like the process, I'm like, I'm like detangling thoughts all the time during that
Yeah.
and going through, like it's a complete like ritualistic meditative
Hmm.
experience for me. But I'm like, I can't go to bed without it.
There you go. See, I mean, that's perfect. The trick I've found, and it's not really a trick, but I've noticed it, and I've spoken to people about it now, that it's really a weird. So when you're in like the fugue state, and for me, that's like either right before you go to bed, but for me, it's right when you wake up, where you just wake up, but you're not fully awake, or you're just going to sleep, you're not fully asleep, where you're in that kind of in between state, where you can express gratitude and ask for ask for things, or ask for being helpful, or being guided and things like that, or posit questions, and just wait for answers, and that for me feels more connected to anything. So yeah, I give that a try. Some of the times I've had my, I don't know, most psychic events have actually been in the shower, which is
Yeah.
odd. I've heard that a lot from
I
people.
think water, yeah, me too. Like I've always gotten, even before I was 5D or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
before I was like on my awakening path or whatever words you want to use, but whatever.
Yeah.
Like when I was in my most NPC time,
Hmm.
I still like would get all my ideas from the shower because I don't know why.
Yeah.
It would come in.
It's amazing. Me too. Which is,
And at
I
one
don't.
point I was like, you know what? I'm gonna invent a like whiteboard that you can keep in the shower that it's okay if it gets wet and you because I can write down when I'm in. I never did, but I'm sure they have notes, things that
No, that's
you have
good.
showers, but
Maybe one of those are the magnet thing. You know how like the
yeah, like a
magnet boards?
magnet thing,
Like, yeah,
little
yeah, yeah,
letters.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember being like, oh, that's where I get all my good stuff. And then like by the time I dry off and everything, some of it's gone. I need all of my ideas from the shower and anyway. But
No,
yeah.
it's weird. There's a lot of these, data points for sure, for sure.
Okay, the other thing I wanted to bring up is Patricia. Um,
Oh, Patricia Vaughn. Yeah,
yeah, like so I okay, yeah. So
I
like
love
I
Patricia.
had her on and I love her. And then we kind of lost touch because I didn't see her on Twitter very much and she got like super burned by a bunch of people like calling her a bunch of names and all this stuff. So she kind of
Hmm.
left Twitter for a while and I guess she said she's kind of back now, so I need to try to reach out again. But um she has some of the most amazing
Footage.
orbs of like images of orb stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like orbs doing. It looks like living plasma to me. It looks like living entities that are in the sky, and the transforming and multicolors, and just for a long time, like a lot, like all the time. And they it's just whenever she wants, she goes outside with the camera and films them. They're always there.
Yeah, there was somebody else who's passed away now that used to have a similar situation, and I sent it to her. Some lady,
Mm.
I can't remember now.
Oh, Dorothy Azat, was that like
Yeah, Dorothy Azot. Like I was
hmm
thinking, like she's the new Dorothy Azot. Like they have
for
some
sure?
similar overlap there, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah, she's amazing. And that really brought up a whole part that nobody wants to talk about in ufology, right? Is that it's just a bunch of white dudes, right? Mainly
Yeah.
it's a bunch of white guys who just dismiss anyone else, even, even women. It's terrible.
Yeah. And
Experiencers. It's such a disparity where people are like, well, look at it. Like, do you see people on Twitter that like, where are all the Asian
I
people?
mean,
Where are the African Americans? Where are the,
but Twitter
Hispanic people?
become a place where it's like I still like it, every once in a while for some information here or there, but it is like it can be really like
Toxic.
toxic. Yeah, they can be super brutal over just nothing. It's like these people they're either bots or they have nothing else to do in life. Like I don't really know, but
They're 90% bots. It's terrible.
yeah.
They're 90% bots. But yeah,
Well,
she got horribly attacked,
yeah, she did.
racist
I saw
things,
some of the stuff.
everything.
It's just like, whoa.
For no reason. And like we talked about, when you're over the target is when you get the most flack, right?
And then
And
they would just
that's what
like
happened.
criticize her camera. Oh, she's doing this wrong, or that like ever heard of a star, or, just real hateful stuff. And you're like, okay. And it reminds me of that. I don't know. There's some clip from What They Do in the Shadows, and like the worst vampire is a energy vampire, and he's like the
Mm.
best way to get energy is like go online and I troll people. And he's like, this woman is an astrophysicist, and I say, uh, oh, you think you know about space? Why don't you read a book? And then he just like, he just is doing stuff like that, just to like, like, and it makes me laugh because I have comments like that all the time where people will just, just the randomest, like crazy stuff. And you're like, well, I guess they're getting the reaction they wanted. So,
Yeah, that's what's horrible. I mean, but drove her offline, but like terrible,
yeah.
But she sent me some things recently that are just mind-boggling, and she won't put them out there because of this thing. And I'm like, oh my God, Patricia. And she's like, yeah, I don't need the heat, but look at this. And I'm like, holy shit. Like what? Like it's just her backyard, and like she's moved me. It's just wherever she's at.
Yeah. So she's
It doesn't
connected
matter.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And just the most awesome down to earth people, woman, ever. And one of my favorite quotes ever from her is like, who gives a fuck about a UFO? She's like, if it's not going to come down here and help me out from this situation, then why the fuck should I care?
Well, I'm with her on that too, because like, we're looking at I have been researching UFOs for I mean, I've seen them as a young kid, and then I've been interested in them my whole life. I'm 44. And
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, you know what? At this point, it's like, and then people will get online and they'll be like, oh yeah, and Fravors, oh look at that tic tac, this. And I'm like, if you guys are still trying to argue over whether or not they exist, like I'm beyond that conversation now. Like I want to move on to they're here. What are they doing here? Are they just interdimensional? Like, are we dealing with something from Alpha Centauri, or is that just like a made up concept that they want us to have? Or is it something that's interdimensional? Is it time travel? Is it like there's other things to go into about the why, but like they're still dealing with the nuts and bolts of whether or not they exist.
Oh God. And that's the hard part, It's like they'll show you the shoot down footage and all this shit, but they won't. It's just a distraction. Like all of that is a distraction from like
The real
the real stuff and whatever that is. And I don't pretend to know, but I know that DNA and biology has a big, big part of it.
Yeah,
It's a massive part of it.
you are on to that, and I hope you don't get too much slack for it.
I'm not suicidal. I want to tell everybody I love my life. I love my family. Like, I never, ever want to do anything like that. Yeah. No, it's just, the thing is like, you got to remember, you're not crazy. You never were, right? Like whenever you're going through life, you're experiencing it. Just lean into it.
Yeah.
It's just be who you can be. It's hard.
And did
It,
you see that Disclosure Day?
yeah, the movie Disclosure by
Yeah.
Spielberg. Yeah. I mean, it's, same deal. Everybody online destroys it, or they love it, or they destroy it. And I looked at it from, I mean, I saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind when I was a kid, right? All E.T., come on, Spielberg has done everything. And you look at it from that lens, but you also look at it from a lens of like a normie. I would say normie, which is probably derogatory, but
Right.
somebody who's not us,
Right.
right? Like this. But I think he does a good job of explaining it in a way that if you weren't us and you watched that, you'd be like, oh man, maybe there is something to this.
I liked it actually. I mean, I thought like there was, I mean, obviously there's some things where I was like, things that bothered me would be like, okay, you're Steven Spielberg and your budget is like crazy. You can't get on Grok and make a fox out of AI that looks better than that CGI fox or
Yeah,
or
right.
whatever. Like the
Like,
animals to me were like,
like, dude, why don't you like get a fox trainer? Just
yeah,
get a
like
real
exactly. You
fox.
could like for some most of that stuff you could use real animals.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it was just stuff like it's not like they were talking animals or something. So I was
No.
just kind of going like, what is going on with this? Like, it looks like all of a sudden some 1990s CGI called and like came back in, but that kind
You're
of
right.
I
You're
remember being
right.
like, what? That just is like crazy. But
Yeah.
it
It's
is
like the new Disney shit looks better than
it
that.
really does. I'm like, literally, I make better stuff on Grok
Yeah,
or
right.
ChatGPT than that.
Yeah.
But but whatever. Steven Spielberg, he maybe he's using stuff he used to use way back when and thinks it looks good. Whatever, I don't know. But
Yeah. Or
um,
he's like 80 and is like, I don't care.
yeah, pretty
Make the
much. He's like,
fox
that's good
show up.
enough. Yeah.
Looks good for my eyes. I don't know.
But I did kind of like you always hear a lot of experiencers talk about whether they're looking at like grays that look like bugs or whatever, these tall whites or whatever they're looking at.
Yeah.
Or praying mantis beings or something, how they'll be like, oh yeah, but they gave this love, like this love that was just
Hmm.
like super, it was like the most love I've ever felt in my life. Like I've heard that from a lot of different like experiencers. And then it was interesting that they kind of imbued that more empathetic thing in the
Hmm.
Emily Stone, like almost like they had a divine masculine and divine feminine kind of
Right.
archetype thing going on.
They did.
And then you're like, okay, so it's interesting how people reacted towards it in a human form versus towards it in a, you know, weird bug looking form. So
Right. And they straight said it too. I mean, spoilers, who cares? But
yeah.
they're like, they mask themselves as animals not to scare us.
Yeah. And I
It's
do think they do. So
yeah. I mean, look at the owl. I mean, there's been books about the owl connection. Um, yeah. I mean, and who's to say that the white lady wasn't,
that
that, right? Or whatever. And maybe I always felt that either they or you use your own consciousness, understanding your preconceived notion of things to fill in the blanks, where it's like, okay, if you don't understand, if you've never had a reference to whatever, the closest thing it can come to is blank.
something to right.
Owl, right?
Right.
Yeah, like I don't know what this is, so fill it in with cardinal, whatever. That's possible.
It is true.
Yeah.
But I do think there is a quickening happening. I would say there's way
Oh.
more people that are talking about, like, even in my real life, like used to just be like I had like online Twitter friends who would talk about this. This wasn't something that like people outside of my door would talk about. But
Yeah.
that's changed. I think I more and more I like meet more people who are interested in the phenomenon at large than ever used to be.
Yeah, I think that I think whatever the control system that's been going on for 100 years or more is failing. I think that we're more interconnected with each other. We're more connected with ourselves than ever before. We have more freedoms than we probably ever had. I think a lot of the experiencers are probably wiped out during the Inquisition, believe it or not, and
Yeah.
the Salem witch trials would just name it, right? Anybody who had any type of precog or any type of healing ability, I mean, they were just wiped out. But I think that they're running against consciousness, and consciousness is infinite. So you can't weaponize love.
Yeah.
You can't weaponize empathy. So where they're running out of things to weaponize. So when you get the wall, they're going to pull out all the stops. But I think you're right. I think there's a definite move or movement, to people being more awake. I mean, look at all the bullshit with the Epstein file, like whatever,
Yeah.
right? All the corruption and whatever you can look at. People are just tired of it. But we're also kind of numb to it because it's happening all the time.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how like that whole, the claws are coming out harder to try to control it when it's
Right. But
expanding.
it's more obvious, than it
Right.
used to be too. So you're like,
Yeah. Yeah. Like, oh, great. Thanks. You're doing this, but then that still like puts a spotlight on it. It's like, oh, you're hiding this, but look over here. Don't look beyond the curtain. And, I think that's a lot with the whole, disclosure that's going on now. We're going to release all these files. And it's like, really? And it's like 500 files of things people have seen forever, like videos you've already seen, and
yeah.
like just
And for me,
whatever.
and I've said this before a lot, but I don't think you're ever going to get disclosure from the people disclosing shit. It's like,
Mm-mm.
you're not going to like, it's not like, the whatever. If it's like the murderer is not going to tell you the details of what they did, it's just doesn't make sense to me. So, I mean, I've long gone past looking for the government's approval or
Of
like
course.
disclosure of something. I don't want the cover. To me, disclosure doesn't come from that. It comes from my own personal experience and or that of other people I talk. I mean, it comes from figuring out what I can figure out about the phenomenon in my own like research, not from that. You
Yeah,
know,
and I think that's like you're right. I think that's happening though, like everybody all over the globe more rapidly.
yeah,
I think that's literally what's happening. Where like you and I we're experiencers. We talk to people. Maybe they are experiencers and they just don't want to admit it. They admit it. Maybe they talk to somebody else. They're experiencers. But, and then it's just kind of a chain where, oh crap, we don't have to keep this hidden anymore. This is a real thing. Everybody's experienced this at some point. Then
and
it's
you don't
real. It's a
have to look
conversation.
for you don't have to look for the permission of the government to be like,
No.
yes, you're right. That is
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
like,
Yeah.
oh God, and I didn't know. I was thinking it was real, but now you validated me, government. Like now I really know. Okay, right. No, it's not going to work like that. So
No, no. I think it's by design. Because even if they did come out and said it, everybody, like half the people would be like, they're lying. That's bullshit.
yeah, they would.
It's AI. They're just
Yeah, I was gonna say it's AI.
yeah.
It's not even real.
It's
How
not
do
even
you
real.
know? Yeah. So I mean, and then we do have that to contend with now because I mean, the AI even tricks me. Like every once in a while, I'll be like, whoa, especially with like ancient sites or something. I'll be like, oh, I've never seen that one before, and then I'll start looking. I'll be like, oh, because it's AI. That's what.
Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because it doesn't exist.
That's why I've never seen that before, man. All right,
Yeah.
John. Well, I have had so much fun catching back up with you. I actually want people to like really go buy this book. It's a good book. Like, tell
Oh,
me, it's only been out like what, a month or two?
yeah. Yeah. Released it April at the end of April. And yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, got a lot of really good feedback. It's weird to put like your heart and soul into something and then just have it out there. And thank you so much for everything. And thank you for reading it and all the years that you and I have known each other and all the crazy stuff we've done, the podcast we've done, and
Yeah, our giant one was really good. If you guys want to know about giants, we did a big giant deep dive.
a big giant deep dive. Yeah, that's a really good one. And that's real. That's a huge thing.
I
That'll come out sooner than later. I mean, that's a DNA thing, right? Look it up.
think,
Jesus.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
and one
sure.
more thing. Did you
Yeah.
because you talked about how like Tom DeLonge's insider for a long time in the To the Stars Academy was that McCaseland guy or whatever.
Oh, yeah, Neil
Yeah,
McCaslin. He's
and then
missing
like
now.
and yeah, like when you wrote this book, was he missing yet?
No, he wasn't missing. He was not missing
So
yet.
then
Like,
how do you take all that now?
wow,
Because
yeah,
I'm in
because
Albuquerque
like I
now, that's where
like
I live, and he went, and that
oh
was local
wow,
news. That was a big thing because he was,
wow,
yeah,
he's right there.
he's right here now.
Yeah, yeah. That's wild because I thought about not releasing the book and putting like all that new stuff in there. And my wife is like, no way. You just gonna like it's gonna be like another 2 years. You're gonna be sitting on this book, but
Book two.
there's yeah, exactly. No, I've been working on a lot of notes. It's well, I started the podcast and I started being public about all this stuff because I was under the impression that whoever they are, we're not pushing people off of bridges anymore or making people disappear or people having heart attacks or car accidents and things like that, right? And because I thought they were going to go with another way to maybe bring it out to disclose it. Yeah,
But no, not
but
really
not but
him.
not anymore, right? So especially when there's so many different
Scientists and stuff.
scientists that are missing and people that are not, or murdered. Like literally, there's been some of these people that have been murdered.
So
Um,
let me just tell you real quick. I had a
yeah.
experience on the plane, like, but this week. So I haven't told anybody this yet, but like, I mean,
Oh,
I told my husband or whatever, but this is so weird because like I wasn't that into this story. I just like the missing scientist story. I just would see it a little bit on Twitter, but then sometimes it's a lot of text and I'm like
yeah.
I'm a millennial now and I just like look for something like quicker adrenaline. So anyway,
Yeah.
I it was kind of late at night and I'm serving drinks and there's this girl and I'm picking up trash and she's like, because I'm a flight attendant, and
Hmm.
she looks at me and she says thank you and I'm like, oh, how do I know that girl? And I was like, oh, that. And then I stop and I double take and I look at her. It's that Amy Eldridge girl who died like 4 years ago, who's like this scientist. She has like this short, dark, it looks
Yeah. Yeah.
identical to her. And I was like, oh, and I'm like looking at her weird. And all of a sudden,
Amy Eskridge.
Amy
Yeah.
Eskridge, yeah. And I don't know much about Amy Eskridge. I just know that she's one of the scientists that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, like says she wasn't suicidal and was claiming that people were after her. And then she ended up committing suicide or whatever, like being
Yeah.
offed or whatever. And she was looking into free energy or something like that. And that's about as much as I know. And anyway, this person who is sitting in this chair literally shape shifted in front of my eyes from Amy Eldridge
Yeah.
into just like this chick with the top hat, like a
Top
blonde
knot.
chick with a top knot on her head. And then she just like looked at me like, what? And I was like, oh, and then I was like, is that my imagination or did she physically shapeshift or like what's going on? And then I went back and I couldn't even remember that scientist girl's name. I didn't have Amy's name like in my head. Like I didn't even know.
Whoa.
So I was like, oh, what's that? What is that scientist girl that died a couple years ago who was looking into free energy? And then like I put that into Google and like four or five of them come up. And
And you
then
picked her out of the.
I was looking at her for her face. I see her face, and then I'm like, oh, okay. And then now I'm kind of like this has just happened this week. So now I'm kind of going like, huh, maybe I ought to look into her story or what's going on with that. Like, what was that about?
That's a wild one. That could be a whole other podcast with you. But that one, like seriously, that's a really wild one. But yeah, I mean,
But I mean, McCaslin was huge. Like, I mean,
oh,
you've mentioned him a couple times in the book, and then and this is
he's gone.
before he's gone. Now he's not even there.
He's not there. It's oh wow, and then like you could run through all the theories, right? Like, did he get picked up by our government because they were worried about somebody else picking him up, so they disappeared? Did
Did
he
another government pick him up because he knows a lot?
did he get picked up by the others? Did he did he do something to himself so something wouldn't happen to his family?
Right.
Did like I mean you can go down the whole rabbit hole of all of these things, right? Is there an imminent threat that they needed all these people hunkered down in some disclosed location that they knew nobody was going to be able to find that they needed them to? I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't
like,
know. I mean, and now we're looking at like there's I don't know. I've seen numbers like 18 to 24 either missing or dead
mhm.
scientists within the last two couple of years. It's like it's adding up. It's weird.
And it's not only America. People are forgetting to look into that. It's happening all
Hmm.
over all the other countries as
Well,
well.
that's just in America. So I wonder, I mean, yeah, who knows how many from other countries and like what the whole thing is behind that because um yeah, I mean he worked at Sandia Labs in Albuquerque, which is like nuclear facilities, and they have all of the country's nukes like
Mm.
right by the
He,
mountains I live by. Yay.
yeah. Well, he ran, Wright Patterson, which is right, down the
Right.
state for me, right down the road. So like he ran that forever too. But yeah, it's interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, we'll see how that story develops. But yeah, I did think that was interesting because you were mentioning him in the book, and I'm like, and then you didn't mention his missing, and so I was like, wait, did you write this before he went missing? Because he's only been
Wrote it
gone 2 months. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. I wrote before he went missing. I literally thought about adding to the book, and I was like, "No, this book will be like 10 years, and you'll never get it out.
Sure,
It'll
that's the
be
thing.
2,000 pages.
There's always something new coming out. So yeah.
It'll be 2,000 pages, and nobody will ever read it."
But anyway, as is, it's an amazing book. Go check it out. And yeah, is there anything else that I haven't touched on that you want to kind of say?
Well, I mean, thank you. Basically, thank you for all these years and for everything. I mean, like one of the first podcasts ever for me was you and I. I mean,
Yeah,
it
we
was
were started around the same time.
yeah, it was a big deal. Was like I think a lot of people there's a billion books about UFOs, but most of them asks UFO books ask what they are. They're like, what are they? And I think my book asks what they do to us and who's hiding the answer. And I live that in like 3 different worlds, like cybersecurity, a Freemason, and an experiencer, and I kind of just try to put that all together.
Yeah.
Into everywhere that I could make sense of everything that's happening. And basically, you're not alone. You're not crazy. And you're way more powerful than you know. So thank you, Nikki, for all the years, for everything. I'm sorry you had to relive another year. I wasn't part of it. But if it happens again, call me. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like, hey,
yeah, we'll read that whole
hey,
chapter
maybe it
called
makes my life longer. Maybe that's how I'll live to 100. I'll just get extra years all the time.
yeah, maybe 200. You're like, what happened? I just lived a couple of years.
Oh yeah, I've been to this one a couple times, and yeah.
Just got to write the lotto numbers down or something. You gotta
Right. I know. I need to start like writing stuff down.
just playing the lotto.
Playing it.
Like,
It doesn't work if you write it down because it won't exist in the new timeline. You have to memorize it in the head.
oh,
You
damn.
gotta keep everything in your memory crystals. Like that's that. Yeah, so I gotta get better at that.
Oh, I am. I'd lose.
Right.
I'd lose that. But thank you for everything, for all the years, and for this, and I
I
appreciate
know.
you very much. And
And we still have kept in touch on Twitter. I always like all your stuff when I see it and everything.
same,
Yeah.
same. You are all over the globe too. We got to do
I
another
know,
podcast.
I know.
We got to do a podcast just with. You come to my podcast and talk about all the crazy shit that you've been doing all over the globe. Because you've
Yeah.
been like you post some of the most amazing things that nobody's even seen. I'm like, how did you find this and
I
where did you
know.
go?
I really do. I do a lot more travel than I ever talk about. So it's yeah, I'm like working on a book for like 6 years now too.
You need to get your book out.
I
You need
do. I
to
really do. I think AI is gonna have to help me a little bit with like I have all my notes for I mean, my notes are so scattered. I just need to
put it
sit
together.
down to
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. And I'm so glad you didn't get diphtheria or whatever from all these weird countries you're
Oh,
going to.
I know. India is like never go there. It's just
No.
it's hard on the gut. I'll just
You want to lose 500 pounds? Go to India.
well, yeah. Yeah. Screw Ozempic, go to India.
Go see the sights
Yeah,
and the toilets forever.
about right.
Nikki, thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you, John. Thanks for coming on, and we will do something again. And let's not make it 8 years.
No, deal. I promise.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, bye.
Bye.